What's up, Greg? How you doing, man?
How you doing? What's going on?
I'm good, man. Hey, man, I'm excited, stoked, pumped, everything, man, to be sitting here talking with the legendary GREGG VALENTINO, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to
Pumped,
be
man.
here.
Thank you, man. Thank
I'm
you,
glad
big
to be
time, man.
here. You know,
Yeah, I
I'm just a
been,
dog chasing his tail, man. I'm nobody special. I'm just a dog chasing his tail. You know,
man,
hamster on a wheel.
man. You're a guy who's just been in bodybuilding, in the bodybuilding industry, in one way or another, and in
Long. I
forever,
started in the
man.
70s. In the 70s, I started working in 1972. Remember, I was 64 years old. So
Okay.
I started in 1972, and and by the time I was 1976, I was already competing in shows at 16 years old. You know.
Wow.
And I was
That's
natural,
incredible.
obviously. I didn't know drug stuff back then. There was no. Remember, Joe Weider kept all that shit on the down low. You know what I mean? The steroid stuff. Joe Weider kept that on the down low because he wanted bodybuilding. His vision was to get bodybuilding in the Olympics. So there was no talk about steroids. And so I believed all the same bullshit everybody else did. Buy the protein powder, work out. Like that kind of stuff. And but that's what he wanted. It also helped him sell a lot of supplements.
Sure.
Arnold Schwarzenegger takes, Weider weight gain or something like that. So you were like, wow, I'm going to take that too,
Right.
So if you put
Right.
steroids, then the people would be, back then it was a different animal.
Definitely, man. And that's a great place, man, to start with everything. As far as Joe Weider and that type of thing, man, I remember first hearing about like when the amino craze was huge, you know what I mean? And
Sure.
everybody was just going buying a shitload of amino. Man, if I take aminos, I'm going to be that big. But I'm going to pull up some pictures along the way here. So if I pop one up while we're talking, don't be
No
concerned
problem.
that the screen lost or anything. Here's one of you early on.
Yes, that's me
Okay.
at 19 years old. I was natural, 100% natural, right there. 19 years old. Didn't
That's
even
incredible.
know what steroids were. But you got to remember something. I was built naturally as a kid. When I was 10, 11 years old, there's a picture of me somewhere on my Facebook, whatever, Instagram rather, and where I was 11 years old. And I had every little body part, but I wasn't big. I was never like big.
Right.
I was thin, but I was like a black kid, like you see these kids, some of these kids that are natural when they're young kids and they're already like built, you know what I'm saying? They're already good athletes and stuff. I was already a good athlete and was muscular, but I wasn't big. The minute I started lifting weights, genetically, I just responded, and that's me, so when I was young, see, I wasn't always ugly and bald,
Me either, bro. That came on later on in life, man.
Oh,
But
me too.
that's amazing though, man, to have that physique.
Thank you.
At that's incredible, man. That's an incredible physique.
Thank you. Thank you. I
know,
worked hard to get like that. I did the old school training though. You know what I mean? Today, everything's overtraining. People don't realize it. Schwarzenegger and all those guys. I was in the gym. I never worked out with him. I was in the gym while he was in the gym. 'Cause I was just a kid in the gym at the same time that he was, big shit. But people don't realize that he used to train each body part 3 times a week. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And he did high volume type training. He would do like 40 sets for biceps, stuff like that. He didn't go in there and just, he didn't do like the heavy duty stuff. That came on later. And he said he tried it and he didn't like it. What happened to him was he got smaller and smoother. But that doesn't mean it's not good that's for him and people like me. I'm a hyper guy naturally. I don't shut up, and you'll see that. And I'm just like, so I have like a fast metabolism. And I like a lot of training. That's all. I respond better to high volume.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to ask you also is starting off, how many days were you in the gym when you were getting like that?
Well, a lot of that was first at home using plastic weights. Then I started and I went to a gym in, was it 75 or 76 that Nautilus Center opened where I live, just Nautilus. And that's all they had. Didn't have any free weights, nothing. They just had Nautilus. So I used to go there. And the owner of that gym was one of Arthur Jones' disciples. Arthur Jones, he was his student.
Okay.
So, and then he did the Arthur Jones training system. So you had to get on the Nautilus machine, and he would put you through 1 set on each machine. You went right down the circuit. But that one set could last 5 minutes, and it was brutal, bro. You want to shit, fart, puke, all that stuff at the same time. You didn't know what the hell to do. I'm telling you, that's how intense it was. Because Arthur Jones, that's why Mike Menser, a couple sets and that's it, you're done. But those sets, these kids think that heavy duty just means take heavy weights and that's it. No, it means that, Mike Menser used to say the set doesn't begin until you've done 9 reps. After 9 reps, that's when the set begins. When you start feeling that, okay, I can't go anymore. Okay, now let's get busy. And that's what Arthur Jones taught him that. So that's how the Arthur Jones method was. They would strip weights in half movements, partial movements, and strip more weight, and go again in half movements until you were like you can't do anything. You couldn't even raise your arm or curl your hand, So that's how that started. So I did that for a little bit, but I hated it. It makes you not want to go to the gym, to be honest with you. And in a minute that guy started getting free weights a little bit, I was like, okay, I'm going to the free weights. I still love the Nautilus stuff, but I like to do sets on there, but not in that way. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that one set for 5-minute thing.
Right. And so
that's how I started.
So if you're doing something like that, you're killing it like that. What's the rest period in between something like that?
Well, when he would do it, you'd have about 5 minutes.
Day wise. Like say you do that workout Monday. When do you come back?
I came back. I did it every day because.
So it's an every day like that.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that's right. Okay, it just means back in the 70s, I was obsessed, and I figured if I didn't train, I was a piece of shit. Listen, even after I started doing sets, I know this may sound nuts to you, but I could do 100 sets. You know what I mean? I could not insane. And if I did 99, I would go home and be like, you're going to shrink now because you didn't do that one last set, that 100th set. You suck. You did, and then the next day I would do extra. It's insane. That was a little bit bizarre, but that's because I also didn't understand. Like we didn't know there was no big guys in the gym when I worked there. There was nobody to ask. There was no pro bodybuilders. There was nobody to ask, questions to. The only guy to ask questions to was the Arthur Jones disciple, and he thought Arthur Jones way, right? His name was Bob Beff. And, so the only information I got was reading the Weeder magazine. So, you had to believe whatever they said because, I'm a kid, and I don't know nothing, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
and that's the Bible.
Right. That was when you were young. It was whatever the magazine said you did, and I was just upset. I believe that, used to hear, Arnold would spend all day in the gym. Well, if Arnold spent all day in the gym, damn it, I'm going to do it. So I would get out of school in the afternoon. I'd go there at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I would stay there till 8 or 9 at night. It was insane. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's just the way I was.
Got you. So it was, if you look at it like this, also think about guys in prison who lift weights every day or work out every day or work the same body part every day. And they come out, man, and they're jacked and people go, we can't do it. Well, we did that and we ate shit. You know what I mean? That's what people did.
Right. But that's because in prison, I was in jail. I wasn't in prison. But the thing is that when you're in jail, you got all day to do nothing. You know what I mean? So the guys eat and they eat starchy, shitty food, right? Which puts weight on you. And they lay around, sleep all day or work out. Where I was, there was no working out. But the thing is, guys will sit and do push-ups in their room, sit-ups. They'll take their bed thing and curl it and, and curl a garbage pail, throw everything in a garbage pail and curl, So you improvise. But, yeah, and it's the truth. I always believe, listen, you want to learn how to play guitar? Practice, right? The more you practice playing a guitar, the better you get. When a guy first starts playing a guitar, sometimes they spend hours all day playing a guitar all day, and that's how you get good. Well, in my brain, I believed practice makes perfect, right? So I felt like, well, why? Same thing with bodybuilding. So I got obsessed with it, and that's what I wanted to do. So that's what I did.
And the results were there. This, man, I got to put this pick up, man. This is just for comedy. This is, you said plastic weights, man. This is me at 12, man. Plastic weights. I'm only going to flash just a second, man.
Okay.
Plastic weights, 12 years old, bro. Man. That was
shit, look at you. Wow.
I already had a tattoo even, man. Shit.
Oh shit, that's great. How old now?
I was 12.
Old are you and how old?
I'm 50.
Okay, so that was okay. All right, yeah, because back back then tattoos you didn't get like I get my tattoos I got in the late I got them you can't see them but I got them all in the like early 90s, long time ago, you know what I mean? So
Gotcha.
like back then tattoos they just had become legal, I think, or it might have still been illegal. I don't even remember, but
Right.
now everybody's got tattoos.
Sure. Yeah, man. Well, see, back then I started hanging out with like convicts real young. I thought that was cool and stuff. And there was these biker spots that had tattoos, man. So I'd go in there. They didn't give a crap how old you were or whatever.
Yeah, I don't care.
They tattoo you. But anyway, so let's get back on track with that, man, with you, man. I'm sorry. I just thought that'd be some good comic relief.
I think it's great. No, I think it's great to see you like that. No. Listen, don't think that at all.
It's just you think about it, those plastic weights, man, with that cement, that's what there was to start with,
Right.
And
back then, I don't know why they didn't really. They used to sell like iron weights and everything in the early, like in the 60s, right? And then into the 70s, all of a sudden the plastic weights started coming around, into the 80s, right. And then they started selling iron weights later on again. But for a while, it's almost like 8-track tapes. You remember when 8-track tapes first came out, and then cassette tapes, then CDs. Now, who the hell buys that? But
right.
So that was like the 8-track tapes of weights. It was like an experiment for all, but sometimes them things you drop on the plastic would crack on the outside, right. or the sand would come out and shit. Now the weight's not even 10 pounds. A 10-pound plate's like this big and fat like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So right. It wasn't good. You couldn't even put 100 pounds on a bar. It looked like you had 1,000 pounds because the weights are so fat and so that's why that didn't go over well.
No, not at all. I'm wondering, do you think it was for the effect? Like that they thought, hey man, if we make these things look, if a 25 is the size of an Olympic plate, and people think they're really, will that make them more pumped? Mentally, or was it just?
I know what you're saying, but I don't think that's what it was. I think it was cheap because iron is expensive, and this is just plastic with cement. You know what I mean? It's like a cheap. It was almost like a cheap way to make it. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Oh, we could sell weights at a cheap price. This is just cement with a plastic wrap around it,
Exactly.
But you can't lift any kind of weight. You'd need like giant freaking tires on the end that you would never be able to. If you wanted to get some serious weight going, that's why that was an experiment, like 8-track tapes that didn't really work out right.
Just doesn't care. Hey, that's I hadn't thought about the iron being expensive type deal, man.
Right, so. The cost of iron was like a lot more. You can make. I mean. Jesus Christ, you could have made your own weights with just a bag of cement. You could go out and get a 50-pound bag or a 100-pound bag of cement. Back then, it probably didn't even cost you less than $10, and you could have made weights out of that shit if if you were crafty,
Right, for sure. So when you started to get serious, obviously, I mean, at that age, you're serious if you're competing by then.
Yes.
When did you start to, like once you're in the gym, start to get into that scene, man, to where you're around guys like
Joe Weider,
Joe Weider and people.
We were both young then. He was young and I was young.
Great picture, man.
Yeah, thank you. That's 1979. But here's the thing. What happened was the guy that owned the Nautilus Center hired Mike Torsha, who was a very good bodybuilder in the 70s. He won a Teenage Mr. America, I think, in 75 or 76. He placed in the Mr. America, all that stuff. This is before there was an NPC. I used to compete in the AAU. I didn't compete in the NPC, right? Because there was no NPC yet. And so Mike Torsha was the first real bodybuilder, that came into our gym. And then he noticed I was really jacked and stuff for a young kid, and then he would help me a little bit. And that's how that's when my mindset started getting like serious with it. I'm 5'6", right? So I'm not tall, and I was a really good athlete in school. I played all sports, and I always felt like I had to prove myself more because I was shorter than the bigger, taller guys,
Right.
So that's why even with the weights, I knew I couldn't grow taller, so I grew bigger, wider,
Right.
and I just felt that I had to be better than the bigger guy. And that's what kind of really drove me, I met Arnold actually in 1976, the first time I met him. He was here in New York, and I met him with the guy my best friend who owns the gym that I train at now. And I met him then. And then when I met him in a gym at the end of 1980, 81, I met him in World's Gym. He trained in World's. He didn't train in Gold's because he used to train in Gold's. Then Joe Gold sold the gym, sold Gold's Gym, went around the world in his friggin' boat, and then came back and tried to buy the gym back. They wouldn't let him. And it was his name, Gold's. So he opened up World's Gym, which was right down the street. It was small as hell.
Right.
But Arnold showed Joe, he used to say, I'll never train at Gold's Gym until Joe passes away because I don't want to disrespect him while he's alive. So that's what happened. And I knew Joe Gold very well. He used to call me the man with the New York tan, you know what I mean? Because I was pale white when I was out there. And when I met Arnold in the gym, I always tell everybody knows the story. I ran up to him and I was like in the gym when I first saw him. He was doing cable rows, And I said, Arnold. Then he goes to me, don't get so emotional.
Yeah. So what was your experience with Arnold? I mean, like as far as just the way, because I've heard people say both ways. Some people say, "Oh man, great guy," and I've heard people go, "Oh, he was kind of rude," or this. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own experience.
I'll tell you what, he's a great guy, fun and funny, but his politics suck. And he's the kind of guy that if your girl was really hot and you walked out, you went to take a shit somewhere and left him alone with her, he would say, "Here's my phone number, call me." You know what I mean? Like, he's a little bit like that.
I got you. I got you, man.
He's a little bit like one of those guys. He could be your friend, but but
just keep close.
I don't like his politics, like all the shit he just pulled too, and screw your freedoms and all that stuff. He broke my balls because I did that. When I did Bigger, Stronger, Faster, that movie, and I talked about Arnold and, and all that stuff. So he broke my balls a little bit about that. But he's actually not a bad guy. He's actually good. And he's funny. He's witty. Just the way you see him, like in movies and TV and stuff. He's kind of like that in person. He's like, if you were interacting with him, he'd fuck around with you a little bit. He's good. There's others that wouldn't. There's a lot of guys that come out like nice guys and they're not. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well,
so
a guy that trained with him a lot, who one of the first guys, man, that I kind of saw. My brother used to go to the library a lot. Anything I was into, he'd get me books or whatever. He's a little older than me, and so he got me this book, man, Franco Colombu.
Yes.
And I read. I was already getting into boxing, right at about 12. I was getting into boxing, and so he goes, and I liked weights, So he's like, "Hey, read this book. This guy is great," And so Franco, man, was a guy who I just thought was incredible, man. Like
I loved him growing up because he was short and he's Italian. You know what I mean?
Right. Same here, man. I'm in Italian.
So are you Italian?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's short and he's Italian, and I loved him. But as I got to know him, he's a dick, and he was not.
Is he Franco?
Yeah. Oh God, he was a dick. I got along with him, but he always pulled bullshit. Like I introduced, first of all, he tried to pick up my wife once. She was my girlfriend at the time. It's before we were married. I was at Joe Gold's birthday party. It was 1989, I think, or 88, 89, I think it was. I think it was his 70th birthday party. And I was at his birthday party and they had like music and everything. And my ex-wife was with me, and he was kicking it to her, and he asked her to dance. It was dancing, it was music playing, so they were dancing, and she said, "No, I can't. I'm with him." And she thought he was creepy anyway. She was like very shy, and I was fooling around with him. I said, "Hey, Franco, listen, bro. If you want to dance with her, you got to dance with me first." Fooling around, right. And he's like, "Yeah," and he like almost like pushed me aside, and I said, "Hey," I got upset, and my friend, pulled me away, and he just was like, But that's nothing. I've had 100 fucking run-ins, like stupid things. Like I introduced him to Alessandro Savi. Now Alessandro Savi is a very good friend of mine. He's probably pound for pound the biggest bodybuilder alive right now. He's a monster. He's only 5'1", and he's 5 foot. He's 255 pounds.
Right.
And he's not fat. He's ripped. I mean, 255 pounds at 5'1". So anyway, now Alessandro competed in the same. Everybody doesn't really realize this, but Arnold only won IFBB, the Mr. Olympia. He was a NABA, he was a NABA bodybuilder. He won the NABA Universe, the NABA Mr. World, all the big NABA shows, Mr. Europe, NABA, all that, right? So Alessandro won those same titles, Mr. World, Mr. Universe, all the same ones now, but Mr. Italy, Mr. Europe, all that shit. He had like 70 titles. And when I introduced him, I said, listen, Franco, this is Alessandro. Alessandro's from Italy, speaks fluent Italian. He doesn't even speak good English, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. And when I introduced him, first thing, because he's jacked, the first thing Franco did was he goes, let me see his stomach. And he grabs Alessandro's shirt and lifts it up like this. I'm like, what are you doing? What the hell's wrong with you? And then Alessandro's girlfriend, she's now his wife, was with him. And she's Italian from Italy, right? It was, Rosetta. She was actually Derek Anthony. I don't know if you remember Derek Anthony. That was his ex-girlfriend. But anyway, she was standing there, and then he starts fucking kicking it to her. And I'm, this is Franco, and right. And I'm like, Franco, what are you doing, dude? You know what I mean? I'm introducing these people. You lift up his shirt, like, if I introduce you to somebody, and the first thing they do to you, I introduce them to you, and the first thing they do to you is lift up your shirt to look at your abs. You'd be like, what are you doing? Stop! Like, what the hell are you doing? You're like, that's not cool. You don't do that. And and then he's hitting on your girl. And then I did a big expo with him in 1991. It was for St. Jude's Hospital, and it was with Kevin Levrone, Mike Matarazzo, Vince Taylor. It's like a bunch of people, right? What the hell's his name there? Bill Kazmaier, Ronaldo Snipes, the boxer. All these people. We did all big thing. A son of a bitch. He did this whole thing. He blows up the water bottle, and he has this little like little thing there, like it's in a ring with a little fucking thing, and he pops it right. And everyone's like, "Oh, look, he blew it up!" But he didn't pop that shit. He had a ring. Anyway, so this is over here in New York, and it was the coldest day. It was in January of that year. It was so cold out. It was like fucking zero. I mean, it was bitter. You know what I mean? And right. He goes and he gets in a limo because they're all going back supposed to go back to the hotel. He tells the limo driver, go ahead, they're staying here. And he stranded all of them. Now, I had my truck. I had a Yukon. So thank God, I did. So I took, Sandy Rinaldi, who was the head of the IFBB for the women, and Mike Matarazzo. I had him in the front seat. I had Kevin Levrone, Vince Taylor, all these guys in the back seat. Because Kevin and I know each other for a very long time. But I'm saying it was really crazy what he, do stupid shit. Like they all wanted to kill him. Wait till I get him back at the hotel. I'm gonna kick his ass. He was pissed. He's a dick like that.
Right. And see, that's the thing. You never know how people are. You read stuff, you see this, you don't know till you know people that have been around them or hear actual stories.
Excuse me. I'll tell you a story. Leon Brown, who's God rest his soul, great guy, good friend of mine, Leon Brown, right? He's the guy in if you ever open up the book Pumping Iron, you see the guy with there's a picture of him looking at the locker room. Then there's these three pictures of this black dude with the most incredible back. And you see all the apples on his back, and he's doing this, right? That's Leon Brown. Now, he was the first guy that Schwarzenegger met in the United States to train. The day they brought Schwarzenegger over here, they met, and he started training with Leon Brown. So Leon Brown became one of Schwarzenegger's best friends, and he trained with Franco. I got a gazillion stories about that shit, but he trained with Franco and Arnold, and he beat Franco, I think, in a Mr. World, right? So when they were training at the gym, Arnold is a ball breaker. See, that's the nice side. That's the side of Arnold I like, So Arnold kept going to Franco. Oh, look, here comes Leon. Remember Leon? He beat you in the show. Just like to zing it in. Yeah, Leon beat you in a Mr. World. Wow. Look at him. He looks great today too. And he said that Leon's a good-natured slob. So when he'd get there, he'd say hello to Franco and Arnold, and he'd jump on a bench. And he said, Frank, they would train the whole workout, and Franco wouldn't talk to him. He would say to Arnold, Franco would say to Arnold, throw another plate on there and tell him to do that too. Instead of him saying to Leon, could you put another plate on? He wouldn't talk to him. He'd say to Arnold, tell him to put another plate on.
That's shitty, bro.
Like that. And Arnold would soup it up. Arnold would fan that flame. And be like, oh, you're just upset because he beat you. Maybe you should put more than a plate. Maybe you should put 2 plates on. And, Franco would be nasty. He said for 6 months he didn't talk to him. And they were training partners.
Geez, man. Yeah, hey, that could put a nice wedge in between you for sure, man, and leaving a
Yeah, but
nasty taste,
Arnold
man.
fanned that shit.
Oh, yeah,
Arnold,
he's making, of course, there's some
right,
people that
he
are
knew
really
that.
good at that, man. Some
Yeah,
people
he
are
knew
really
that
good.
was like a sore spot, him and Franco.
Right.
So he was like, okay, I'm gonna break his ball. I'm never gonna let him live this down. And that's what he and
he
poor
kept with it.
Leon. If you knew Leon, he's like a good-natured slob. He just, he just
Yeah.
loved being around the guys and working out and stuff. So he
Sure.
didn't care. He was like, oh, well, he'll talk to me eventually, and they'd go out and get their juice. They used to go to get their babanya there. They would go get it. Like I forgot whether it was a Tuesday or Wednesday, but every Tuesday or Wednesday they would go to this clinic where Arnold was like fucking around, one of the nurses, and she would get them all this stuff,
Right.
and they'd be in the car, and they would be in Arnold's Volkswagen, and they would go around this mountain and shit. And what's his name? Leon used to tell me, Greg, I would hide underneath the seat, in the back because Arnold would go so fast. I would say, please slow down because that thing's a little tiny, Volkswagen bug.
Sure, man. I mean? Yeah.
And Franco would be, go faster. But Franco would still not talk to Leon in the car. He would tell Arnold whatever he wanted Leon to know. Like, Arnold,
damn,
tell him to roll down the back window. You know what I mean? And then Arnold would be like, Leon, Franco can't tell you himself because he's still butthurt. Can you roll down the back window? And Leon, instead of Leon saying, come on, Franco, he'd be like, okay. And he'd roll down the back window.
And just do it. Jeez, man. Damn, that's intense, man. Good God, man.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Well, okay, so you mentioned one guy, man, that Mike Matarazzo.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. He was one guy I can remember that had that like a big supplement line that was like it was like, get this. It had like all these things, in it. It was like, this is the key to getting this big. And it was like $100 and something bucks, man, and it was like the 80s. And I'm like, crap, man. Or, early 90s, maybe 90, but early 80s for sure. It's somewhere in that area. And I'm like, man, I got to go to GNC and get this, man. It's $100 and something bucks. And I take that crap and go to the gym, man, and hit legs so hard. I literally, man, I hit calves and shit so hard I couldn't walk the next day. No bullshit, man.
I'm trying to figure out I don't remember him doing a supplement unless he was a spokesman. Was it hot stuff? What was that?
Man, stuff? It was like it came in like a box, man. So you really think you're about to get like.
But was it a tub of powder or was it?
No. It was like, man, it was literally like a multivitamin. It was like just a vitamin pack of stuff, basically. It may have had, and it was in a box, man. And
it wasn't
it
wasn't that cybergenic shit. It wasn't.
Yes, it may have been cybergenic.
Oh, you know what's funny? All right, listen, I think you might have the two guys mixed up.
Okay,
it wasn't Matarazzo. You can Google this. It wasn't Matarazzo. It was Franco Santoriello. Do you remember Franco Santoriello, the other Italian bodybuilder? He was jacked. That was his thing.
I'm wondering if does he look a lot like Mike?
I know, because I did it. Remember, he did that commercial for
Maybe that's who it was, man.
Was Franco because Matarazzo really wasn't with a supplement company.
Okay. Maybe that's who it was, man.
Yeah, it was Franco Santoriello. He was jacked. I mean, he was a monster back then. You know what I mean?
That may have been
Jersey guy, right? He was the big spokesperson for that. And he would be like, I know because I did it, Franco Santoriello,
Okay, that may have been who it was. My bad. Okay.
He's Italian. He got the black hair and shit.
Yeah, the black hair, yes.
Because Matarazzo, as far as I remember, I don't remember him being with a supplement. I knew Mike very, very, very,
right.
Very well.
You would know for sure.
Yeah, I don't remember him being with a supplement company other than like doing stuff with weed or little things maybe, but not something like that. And I know when you say it's like a bunch of different pills or a multivitamin, that was cybergenics. I remember all that stuff
for sure. When you said that, my memory's terrible, man, from getting hit, man.
Yeah, it was in a blue box.
Yes, man. It was a box, and I'm like, oh man, I'm about to get jacked, bro. I'm gonna be swole. I found the key, bro.
That was big back then. That was very, very big. Cybergenics. Yup.
That was it, man.
Franco Santoriello. Yeah, I know because I did it. He did that commercial.
Yeah. I just remember seeing it in a book, man, in a magazine.
It was in GNC everywhere. It was all over the place. That was like the big thing back then.
Right. And when you're looking at supplements and thinking, man, what's going to get me? What's the thing? And you see this guy, and then that, like you said, it's up there everywhere, and I'm like, oh well, crap, I got to get that,
Yeah.
shit, Meanwhile, my diet's probably crap, not enough protein, not. But
Right.
anyway,
All that supplement shit's bullshit. But
right, that's it. Yeah, I want to touch on that too, man. But here's, you just mentioned this just now with Franco pulling the guy's shirt up and touching him, man.
yes,
I think that, do bodybuilders get that more than any other person, man? Just strangers touching them. Let me grab your arm. Let me.
oh yeah, I always got, when I was really jacked and juiced out of my gourd. I definitely got that a lot too. Yeah, they get that, but when you get another bodybuilder to do that, it's almost like if you were really jacked and some guy's like, yeah, man, you look good, but let me see your legs. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. He was almost like, yeah, he's big, but does he have abs? It was doing it almost in a, like a,
no, I got you, man.
When I introduced him, I said, Franco, man, not for nothing, but he's got the same titles you do, Mr. World. He's from Italy. He won the Mr. Italy, won the Mr. Europe, won the World, Mr. World, Mr. Universe, all the different shows. And he's like, yeah, well, let me see his stomach. Like, he's big, but let me see his stomach, like that. And I was like,
it's disrespectful, man. It's, you're critiquing this guy on the spot. No, I just think that.
Listen, I'm sorry, Mike. Even so, if somebody wanted to see, like, even your arm or something like that, and they said to you, let me see your arm, and they just grab your sleeve, you'd be like, listen, if I want to show it to you, ask me, and I'll show it to you if I want to show it to you. But you don't just grab my shirt and lift it up. If somebody went over to you and said, let me see where your abs look, and started lifting up your shirt, you'd be like, hey, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, I just thought it was obnoxious, even Alessandro, but he was so, starstruck because he was, he grew up by, Franco's an Italian from Italy, like him, they was speaking Italian back and forth, but, he was a little disillusioned. Like, what the hell was that all about? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I bet. And I mean, I guess that's kind of my point, is that, to me, bodybuilder, it's disrespectful just to walk up and touch people, period.
Yes.
And I don't think you should just walk up and do that, period.
No.
Much less pull up a guy's shirt. But I mean, I think bodybuilders get that more than anyone.
Oh, yes.
More than, people don't walk up to Denzel Washington and go, oh man, look, man, your legs are looking good, bro. Your arms are solid, or whatever. As much as they may walk up to, back in the day, Lee Haney and be like, hey man, your triceps are, popping, or what, what I mean? Just grab him.
Right. You don't like anybody. Nobody likes anybody like just touching them, especially when you're not ready for it. Somebody come up to you, even if somebody come up to you, hey, let me see your arm, and just starts talking. Even if they're not lifting, he's actually lifting up his shirt.
Lifting up, yeah.
Actually grabbing your shirt and lifting it up to look at your stomach. You know what I mean? Like your gut, Yeah. No. So, and he had abs too, so it doesn't matter. But what I'm just saying is, it's just, that's just like insulting. You know what I mean?
Sure,
I hate do that shit,
Even
when people talk about Arnold. Arnold was great, but he didn't have such great legs. Oh, get out of here. For that area, come on. Let's see what you look like when you're, in shape. He's on. Yes, right. His politics suck, and he has a little side to him who could be funky, but I still like him, and I know him personally, so.
Yeah, no, I got you, man. I agree with that too. Speaking of legs, you were saying, man, you posted a picture of your legs, man, and kind of talked about the workouts you were doing, man. And you had the high 1 rep. Is that what you were doing with the leg press? And that was shit, man.
It's kind of heavy duty ish. I don't use like these ridiculous weights. Everybody thinks that heavy duty means you got to put these ridiculous weights on and do like 6 reps. That's not going to do shit. But that feeds the ego. But what I still take a weight that's hard to do. I used to do it 120 reps in 1 set. Now with 3 plates on each side, that's a lot. People don't realize that Tom Platz would take like 315 or whatever it was and squat, do 50 clean, ass to the grass, all the way up, all the way down, reps, 50. Sometimes he would do more. I posted the video of it on my Instagram and stuff, and Tom used to talk about it. He used to say by 25 reps, he was in like unbelievable pain. Right. Then the next, he said the next 10 reps after that, by 35, 40 reps, he said he said he didn't know how he got him done, but he got him done. And he said the next 10 reps to 50, he said He doesn't even know. He was in a different world. God did the reps for him because he was in such, like, you're in such a zone and it's so hard. And if you don't feel that pain, because you got to get the deep fibers. Standing there putting heavy weights on, to try to impress everybody in the gym, and the bar's half bend, and then you come down and you do the squat. Like that's one. And it's, you're doing good mornings and shit. It's not, that feeds the ego, but it's not going to build the muscle. See, now everything's powerlifting. Well, there's nothing wrong with powerlifting, and no just to powerlifters, but powerlifters don't have the amount of muscle a bodybuilder has. Now, you may say, wait a minute, whoa. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Yes, when you see a 400-pound powerlifter that's 6'7", that's a different story, but shrink him down. If you see a 200-pound bodybuilder, then see a 200-pound powerlifter, the amount of muscle the bodybuilder has at 200 pounds and the amount of muscle the powerlifter has is two different things. You know what I mean?
Totally different. Yeah.
Right.
Totally different things.
You see these 350-pound, 400-pound powerlifters, and they're still, listen, the Mountain, that guy, the Mountain, he's a big dude, right? I've seen him a million times in person, but he's not bigger than some of the pro bodybuilders. He's not even close. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's not even close. And they don't weigh 400 pounds like him or whatever, 350 pounds. These guys are a lot big, trust me. So
not even in the same
I'm
thing.
not powerlifters down, but what I'm saying is everybody thinks because they're doing these low reps and stuff on powerlifting. That's not powerlifting. First of all, a lot of powerlifters don't train like that, but that's neither here nor there. But so yes, I used to do high reps. I would take 3 plates on each side. At one time, I used to do 120. I can't do that more after the throat cancer I didn't. But now I've hit 80 recently. You know what I mean? 80 reps with that. And I'm talking about nonstop. I go all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down like this. Okay? I do them at a steady rate like this, about the, like that. Okay? But I don't push up, stop, and I go like that's taking too long of a rep.
That's a long break. Yeah.
I do steady. Okay. Steady movement, constant movement. I never stop. It's the other guys that might try that will stop after 10 reps. They stop. Let me get my breath. You take it. You can't stop. That's not the way I do it. That's not the way it's done. So,
yeah, man, that's insane though. Tom Platz listen, most people aren't going to do 100 reps, no weight squats, down ass to the grass.
right.
Just period. Just the average person. I ain't talking about people. But even some people that lift weights, they may not. They do that and be like, shit, I can't. I'm not going to.
Tom Platz did it like this, like a piston. He didn't stop. When I say 50 reps, now some of you might think, dude, that's nothing. I do 6 plates with it. Bullshit. I can guarantee, get my ass in the gym with you, and not you, but like whoever's saying this, right? I'll put those 315 on the bar. And I can guarantee, even these guys watch, if anybody's watching this that does like really sick heavy weights and squats, I guarantee you can't do 50 reps, especially not the way Tom Platz does them. He does all the way up, all the way down, and he does not stop. He doesn't stop to take a breath and stand there and give himself time to recoup. Do you understand? It's constant up, down, up, down. That's why he says, go look at the video. It's on my Instagram. Go look at that video. It's a couple rows down. And you'll see where Tom Platz is squatting, where he talks about it, how he's in such a zone. He says, sometimes I don't even know how I got to 50. I don't even know how I did it. I just did it. And then he'd say, he would have to like lay down after that. He would be like, it was do or die for him. You know what I mean? You have to hear him talk about it, but that's kind of the approach that I use with the leg press. And my legs are jacked, always. Yeah. I just did a thing with Lee. Lee Priest is one of my best friends.
Right,
And Dave Palumbo. We were all out in Alabama together for a week. We stayed in a hotel together and everything. And when I was posing my legs, and I had just gotten out of the hospital, Dave goes, "Holy shit, Lee, his legs look better than yours." And Lee, Lee's like, "What?" But then, Lee's calves are sick. I got good calves, but that guy's calves are fucking insane. But what I'm saying is that my legs are jacked, hamstrings and quads. Dave always says, "Greg, you got hamstrings like I had." Hamstring, because Dave had really big hamstrings. I have really big hamstrings, but I also train my hamstrings like, you got to get, people do all this shit for the front of their thighs, right? They do squats, lunges, leg press, hack squats, and all this shit. And then they'll get on there and do 5 sets of leg curls. A lot of guys don't have good hamstrings. Not me. I have an insane leg curl workout. And my girlfriend will tell you, it's like, you can't talk to me. You got to just leave me alone. When I do leg curls, it's fucking crazy because I do it by time. I give myself 15 minutes. And in 15 minutes, I have to get 45 sets done because I do in 1 minute, I do 3 sets in 1 minute. So what I do is I'll do 12 to 15 reps. Then I stop and I count backwards. It depends on the day, usually by 5. If I need a little bit more that day, I'll go like 8 or something like that. Like 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. And then I go again. Do you understand? So you took an 8 seconds rest between sets or 5 seconds rest. But with that, I can actually get 3 sets done in 1 minute. 3 sets in 1 minute. So if I do 15 minutes, 3 sets is 45 sets. And let me tell you, when I get off there, my hamstrings are jumping. But that's just why that does not, listen, guys, anybody listening to this, okay, that does not mean that's right for you. It just is something that I developed that's right for me. That does not mean that I have the answers to your body. Only you have that. You may not, that may be too much for you. That's for me, it's not. For other people, it is. So I don't want people to think like, oh, this guy, no. I'm not saying that I have the answers. I'm saying that for Greg, I have the answers. For me, nobody knows your own body. Most people don't listen to their body. Your body's always talking to you. I don't care what the pro in the gym thinks. I don't care what Joe Matarazzo thinks or Arnold, whatever. It's what you listening to your own feedback. Everybody's different. Even with foods. Lee Haney used to tell me, I can't eat, baked potato. I love baked potato, but it bloats my lower intestine. So he would eat rice. You understand? Everybody's different. Jay Cutler, that's Lee in my house. That's my house right there. It's in 1977. And that's me next. And,
that's amazing, man.
Thanks. He was eating spaghetti and meatball. My mother used to make him. He was there for 3 days in my house here where I live. It's sitting right where I'm sitting right now, sitting in that seat right next to me. That's where Lee Priest was. I had Lee Labrada here too. So I had all 3 Lees. Lee Labrada, different times. But that's 1987. And there's Lee. That's Lee. My boy Lee Priest sitting there, sitting in the same spot. That's the same spot. And we that wasn't true. He didn't really eat pasta. We made a big joke like he was eating the pasta. I don't know if you saw that. He ate the pasta that Lee Haney, like I froze Lee Haney's pasta from 19.
And waited for him to come back.
I gave it to Lee Priest.
That's incredible, man. I mean, this is what I'm saying, man. You're around people. I mean, first of all, you yourself are, incredible and have, like what you're saying about listening to your body. You've got the hack for your body. What it takes to make it grow, to keep it here, to do this. That's something that most people never accomplish.
Right. That's my body, but it's not your body. I can't tell you what you listen to me. There are some people like myself that's hyper. I'm a hyper fucking guy. I can go and get 4 or 5 hours sleep, and that's enough for me. You know what I mean? But other people are like, my girlfriend, if she doesn't get 10 hours sleep, she's like, no good. You know what I mean? Sure. Like there's people like that. And we have what's called biorhythms, which means there's certain times of the month. There's days where you feel like you need more sleep. Then there's days where you feel like, you know what? I didn't get a lot of sleep last, but I'm okay. There's days where you just, I don't know. I don't have much of an appetite the last couple of days. Then there's days where you can't stop fucking eating. You're hungry after you eat. It's called biorhythm. You ever go in a gym and all of a sudden that fucking weight feels like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I feel like I'm lifting 50 pounds more today. What the fuck is this? It's not hitting me. And excuse me. Another time you go to the gym and you're like, holy fuck, this shit's like light. That's why Dorian Yates used to say, I never plan a heavy or a light day because you never know. What if you plan a heavy day and you go in a gym and that day you're trying to push weights that you have no business pushing that day because you just don't have it. You understand?
Yes.
So that's the day we go. But what if you go in a gym and you know what? Today I'm just going to do a little light pumping. And you know what? You fucking, dude, you're robbing yourself because you know what? I feel, dude, not for nothing. Throw the weight on a bar. Let's do this because I feel strong today. So you go by the way you feel because you have biorhythms. Everybody has different. Each month we go through a phase. Our body goes through a cycle, and it's biorhythms where different, we need a little bit more sleep. We need a little bit more, I'm a little cranky, I'm a little bit moody, whatever. It's biorhythms, you know what I mean? And everybody has it, not just women with that time in a month. Men get the same thing, but in a different way. And you have to know how to tap into that. Certain foods. You talk to Jay Color. I know Jay very well. Jay can't eat oatmeal. Won't eat oatmeal. So before, like if he's training really hard to go for a contest, or he's doing his carb meals in the morning, he'll eat cream of rice instead of eating because he says that that the oatmeal really irritates his gut lining and his
same here. Yeah.
Right. So then don't eat it though. But you see, gotta listen. I don't care if Schwarzenegger said, I live on oatmeal. It's the greatest food ever. Well, Arnold says that I got to do it. You can't do that. He's not you. Again, Lee Haney, I can't baked potato. He used to say baked potato bloats my gut. So he could eat pasta. He could eat. I was with Ronnie Coleman many times eating. We used to go to Carlo Filippone's. He owned an Italian restaurant, so we go down there and eat. Me and him, and he would eat, Italian food and everything. But certain foods bloated him, certain foods didn't. You know what to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, man, that knowing your body, that's the thing, man. You can't. There's no generic plan for it's the same with anything, though, man. Boxing, you can't train one boxer the same as you train another.
Well, styles make fights in boxing, right?
Styles make fights. And
you can't fight Mike Tyson the way you would fight Muhammad Ali. You can't do that. It's two different guys.
Right. 100%. And you can't train Mike Tyson the way you train Muhammad Ali.
You can't. It would never. Imagine Mike Tyson getting in there and fucking sticking and moving,
floating like a butterfly. No,
right. It was not his style. It's just that, and that's why you got to find what's right for you. And the only way to do that is to stop the bullshit. Stop listening to what pros do. Stop. You could take in all this information, but then you got to listen to that little voice in your head. You know what? I'm tired. Then get some rest. You know what? I feel strong today. Then push some weight. Today I don't really feel like I don't have it. I feel a little weak. Then use weights you can handle and work out hard, but work out with weights that you can use. Don't worry about trying to push it a little bit. Each day it's different, and you got to go according to that day. There's no plan. Same thing when people count calories. I got a guy in the gym that's obsessed with that. Oh, I had 1,245 calories today. I'm like, what are you doing? First of all, your body, I know, calories in, calories out. That's not true. Listen to me. There's certain days, I got to go out and I got to cut the lawn. Then I go out and I fucking, fix the car, whatever the fuck. I just burn more calories than the next day where I sat around all day watching movies. You know what I'm saying? Right. You don't know. Not every day is the same. You're certain days you're a little bit more active. You do little things. You don't realize it. You don't realize.
Sure, man.
Even if you went grocery shopping, you're walking around the store pushing a cart, you burn a little bit more calories than you did the day before when you sat on. I don't play video games, but some people pew. So what I'm saying is, every day's different. And you got to listen to your body. If you feel a little flat, you eat a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? If you feel a little chub, you cut it back a little bit. You got to look at biorhythms and feedback.
Right. No, that's the key, man. I think this is more important than anything else I even wanted to ask you, man. This is great info, because I've noticed that sometimes, before a long time ago, I just thought I needed to eat a bunch every day. That was the thing, period. Doesn't matter.
Right.
I need to eat a bunch of crap. You want to grow. Nowadays, I'm old. I don't care about growing. I just want to get enough to where I don't lose anything, any muscle that's left or whatever. So, but there's days like if I don't do a bunch of stuff, I'm not hungry. I don't just force myself to eat,
No, you can't, because your body's telling you something. There's a reason why your body's saying, hey, I'm not too hungry today. Slow it down, because your body's saying, I'm trying to do something. There's different processes going on in your body every day. We're building new cells, getting rid of old cells, all that stuff. People get that bodybuilding mentality. I got to be jacked. I got to eat. It's not necessarily true. There's days where you don't have it. You got to listen to your body. There's days where you're sitting on a can all day. Dude, I got diarrhea. How am I shitting so much? I didn't even eat a lot. It's just your body. It's your body's getting rid of shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to go with it. There's no blueprint. If that was the case, and I could say, look, here's Arnold Schwarzenegger's routine. Set for set, rep for rep. You do this, and you won't look anything like Arnold. You may not get any gains at all.
Yeah.
None. You might not
Right.
get anything because that was right for Arnold. That's not right for you.
Right.
The only way to find out what's right for you is by doing things, right? Trial and error.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's great, man. That's great, Greg, for real, man. I'm gonna pull up your buddy here, man, that you mentioned too, Dave, man. Y'all, man, y'all,
Oh,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
when y'all do the shows, man. It's great. You know what? I buy one multivitamin. Sometime I take a little extra magnesium, but the
Right.
only supplement that I take, like extra just supplement,
Yes.
is Dave's Fiberlize, man.
Yeah, I have it right here. Yeah, I take it.
Dude, Fiberlize is that's the only supplement thing that I just buy extra because I don't like eat. I remember, like I said, don't want to eat oatmeal or whatever. My stomach just doesn't do well and all that. I've had diverticulosis,
Oh
so
boy.
having enough
Fiberlize
fiber,
is
you
that,
know.
I just dropped my thing. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Fiberlize is his most. I don't know what that would be. Anyway, Fiberlize is his most popular supplement. It's his,
Good.
and you know what fucking people. Oh, sorry, I'm cursing over the or whatever.
Nah, go ahead.
Listen, what people don't understand is that even for me, now I'm 64 and I look, pretty damn good for 64.
Oh, man.
And I'm not on steroids. I do take with a doctor. I have to take TRT, but I take it with a doctor. Okay.
Sure.
And I don't do it all year round. He has me. It's a she. I don't know why I said he. It's a she. She has me on different cycle, and I never do more than 200 milligrams once every 10 days. Now, I have to do that because I took so much steroids that I fucking destroyed myself. But here's the thing: I look good because I take a ton of supplements, but none of them are for bodybuilding. None. I take methylated vitamins. You know what I'm saying? You got to take methylated. Don't just buy any shit. Now I get shit for free from Dave, but the problem is I can't take his. He's got like I forgot how many with the I think his multivitamin, which is phenomenal and everything. It's a multivitamin. It's called demineralized. The problem is with that shit is I think the serving size is it 8 capsules or
you
10
got to take
capsules?
a whole bunch of them, right?
But they're capsules. And let me tell you something. Fucking bad enough taking one vitamin. You know what? And then you start burping up later on. You're like, oh, Jesus, right? That shit just is stomach killers. So I get like like Life Extension, a few of those different. I get Dave supplement, but that one I can't take. But I take a B complex. I take a lot of folic, folate and everything. But it's methylated. Okay. And I take B12 because my family, there's blood issues in my family, and those are, very good for the blood. Then I take like milk thistle because I have, for the liver. Okay. And I had my gallbladder taken out. Lee Priest had ball breaker. The whole thing with the Valentino was gallbladder. But I had throat cancer and everything. So I take milk thistle for the liver. I also take Live 52 for the liver. I take Tudka for the liver. Tony Huge, he gives me Tudka. He's my friend. And things like that. I take NAC also for the liver. I take a lot of liver stuff. But I take everything for my health. You know why? Because I want to live longer. You don't need supplements. The only supplement I'll take once in a while is protein, and I do take Colombo's Isolyze is the best. I also take his Isolyze, which is the new one. He makes a pudding and stuff, but I drink it like a shake. But I only drink that here and there, and I like it because it's it gets you the protein in it. But I don't take bodybuilding supplements. You don't need them. You know what I mean? And especially when you want to get older, you better worry about. I take a lot of stuff for the stomach too, like digestive enzymes and probiotics and blah 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 blah. You know the story.
Sure, man.
Right, because you want the body, the machine's you got to keep the machine working. You follow me? And that's the key. You don't need most supplement. Most pro bodybuilders very rarely take any supplements like that. They'll take some of them will take a protein shake to get extra protein when they can't always eat the protein. But they don't sit around with shakes all day. Otherwise, you'd be blowing your ass. You'll be blowing your asshole out. You got to walk with a fucking bucket tied to your ass and stuff too. You know what I mean?
For real, man. Man.
So we don't do that. But so I take supplements that help me live a longer life.
Right.
So
that's what I'm interested in. And I did take milk thistle before. I have a cousin who's a naturopath doctor, so she would prescribe me certain things for whatever she wanted.
Great supplement. Great supplement. Phenomenal for the liver.
Definitely. Let me ask you this one, man. This is kind of offbeat, but you mentioned working out in California, and I know written about it before. Tookie Williams. Did you ever see him when he was working out there?
I may have seen him if I saw what he looks like, and I may have seen him back in the day because I was there every single. I lived in that gym, man. I used to bring food in my gym bag and just sit there and I'd work. You know, I was like a gym rat.
Right.
You know, I mean, they all knew me as a gym rat. You know, I wasn't popular or anything. I was just a guy in the gym, just like when you go to a gym, there's guys in the gym. You know what I mean? I was just a guy in the gym. I used to get the Barbarian Brother rides home and shit because those fucking they were momos, you know what I mean? But other than that, I didn't really, I wasn't like pally with them. I was a little bit with Samir Banu. You know, there's pictures of me with Samir. You can see them. They're on my Instagram. You know, from back then, before he was ever Mr. Olympia, you know. Yeah. But I didn't really, you know, I trained a few times with Reggie Jackson, the baseball player. You know.
Right. No, I got you. Here's a guy. Now I've heard this guy had some kind of street connection, man. I'm not certain. But no,
that's me and Mike Christian. Yes.
Is that Mike Christian? Yes. Yeah, that's the one I wanted to pull up.
Yes, that's Mike
I've heard that, man. I don't know how true it is. I don't know everything about Mike Christian.
He was bad. Let me tell you something. He was a bad dude. A bad motherfucker in that gym. Nobody would fuck with him. If he wanted to fight you, you were in serious trouble. Yeah, he was a bad dude. He was a bad.
He had some real street connection.
Yes, he grew up in group homes. But can I tell you something? The nicest fucking guy. I used to, you know, I used to pal around with him out there. Nicest fucking guy you'd ever meet. You just don't want to get him pissed off. You know what I mean? But if you don't do anything that you know warrants you getting your ass kicked, and if you do, then you know that's what happens. You know, I saw him go after Victor Richards. Victor Richards shit his pants. You know what I mean?
Is that right?
Yeah, he knocked out one of the Barbarian brothers. We were there.
Mike Christian did.
Yeah, what happened was, it's a very famous story. I was there. That's, you know, he was in the gym, and what happened was he was like a little bit. I guess he had a little bit. He was a little quiet, so I think he was in a little mood, you know. And the Barbarian brothers were putting on their little bullshit show that they used to do. They were great guys. I don't mean it in a bad way, but they were funny.
Right, no, I got you.
And they were on the bench. I can't remember whether it was Peter or David that was on the bench. I think it might have been David. I'm not sure, but they were they were bench pressing, and if the Barbarian brother that was spotting the other one, let's say it was David that was on the bench, right? Peter would say he said to Samir Banu, get over here and smack David in the face, like, you know, like God, it would smack each other, you know, and smack each other to get each other psyched up. Yeah. So he told Samir, smack him in the face, smack my brother in the face. So Samir comes over and goes like that, right? And David goes, what the fuck is that? He goes, what was that? And Samir goes a little harder, right? And he goes, come on, smack me in the face, come on. So now Samir winds up and goes bang like this right across the face really hard. And Peter goes, what the fuck was that's not a smack. And then he goes to Christian. Yo, Christian, you big pimple face NIG, you know.
Oh shit.
N-word, right? Goes, get over here and show Samir Banu how you smack somebody in the face. Something along that lines is the way he said it. And Christian dropped the weights, walked over, and I could see, because as he was walking over, his nostrils were flared, and he was like, and he walked over, and he went right up to David Barbarian and went, bang! And he hit him with a hook and knocked him out. And he was like this, laying over the bench. And Peter's looking down at him, he goes, now that's how you fucking hit somebody in the face. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Something like that. He said, I don't remember, but it was crazy. It was crazy. He knocked him out, and then he walked away and I seen him go after Victor Richards once, and Victor Richards was behind in the back. They had a bay door, and it was like a schoolyard fence, and there was a parking lot back there, and I don't know what. There was something between them two. There was something that I guess Victor did that pissed him off, and he said Victor was like this, looking at him they were talking through the schoolyard fence. And Mike Christian goes, he pushes the fence. He goes, I'm going to come out here. I'm going to kick your fucking ass like this. And Victor went back, even with the fence.
Right.
He went back like this. And then he ran out of there because, you know, Christian was going to walk around, and then that was it, you know? Yeah. So, you know, he was a tough guy. He was as a matter of fact, when Lee Labrada came to my house, Mike Quinn, God rest his soul, I was good friends with Mike Quinn. He was a good guy. He was crazy, but he was a good guy. And he he was doing some shit. Christian was doing some rows or something like that, and he was popping his mouth to get saying shit to Christian, and Lee Labrada was there, and Lee flew to my house, you know, and this was 1988, 2 weeks before the LA Mr. Olympia, and he was with his wife Robin at my house, and this is before they were married. I think they were just boyfriend and girlfriend. This is Hunter Labrada's mother, and Lee goes, bro, I didn't want to leave. He goes, I almost missed my flight because I didn't want to leave. He goes, because Christian was just about to knock out Mike Quinn. He goes, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be good. You know, Christian was like, I'm telling you, shut your mouth. I'm telling you, shut the fuck up. It's not going to end well for you. Shut the fuck up. And he had to leave to catch the plane. He said, oh man, he goes, I was like, I really wanted to see you. You know, what was going on.
Jeez, man. Well, you know, Lee Labrada, a Houston guy, man. And he had the pump room here, man, in a nice little neighborhood, you know, real nice gym and all that. And
he's a very nice guy. Very nice guy. You know, it was funny when he was out there. I remember he was, you know, we would go out to eat and stuff, you know, and his wife was with him and everything. And you know, we'd all be like eating like kings, you know, you're eating like friggin' everything, you know, it's Italian food and everything. And it smells like, and he's 2 weeks out from the Olympia and he's sitting there eating boiled eggs and he's peeling a friggin' hard boiled. And he was not at, he was like, man, this sucks. He goes, he goes, you smell that food, smells so good. Man. And his wife got mad. She said, hey, listen, you chose to do this. I don't want to hear no more. Don't want to hear it anymore. This is what you do. Right. I don't want to hear anymore. You chose to do this. This is your thing. You know what I mean? You don't have to do it. This is what you choose. You know, like, I don't want to hear, like, you know, I don't, you know, because I guess she didn't want to feel guilty, like sitting there, like, you know, I have to spaghetti with meatballs or something like that. Well, he's sitting there with a hard boiled egg, eating the egg white and shit, you know, like, you know.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I've never heard any really bad stories about him.
No, he's a great guy.
Son's a monster, dude. And,
great guy.
You mentioned Mike Quinn, man.
Yes.
I'm gonna pull up this picture. This is not Mike Quinn, but it's you with Vinny Pazienza.
Vinny Pazienza. Yes. That's my boy. Vinny Pazienza.
Oh, is that right, man?
Yeah, we're boys. Man. Yeah, and that's Joe Pietaro. You know, me and Joe Muscle Sport Mag, me and him. We all did a television show together. You know, and Vinny's a tough guy. Vinny was close with Mike Quinn. He would. Well,
that's why I mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, he would tell me, bro, I had to stay away from him after all because Mike Quinn would get him in fights and stuff. You know, he'd go to bars. Is that right? Yeah, they would go to bars, and Vinny, when he starts drinking a little bit too. But I mean, you know, Mike would get drunk, and all of a sudden he'd start fights, and you know, they're boys, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, Vinny's got to watch what he does. He'd go to jail. You know what I mean?
Sure, man.
Yeah, Vinny's a very nice guy. I really enjoyed. We did a TV show together and everything. He was a good guy. You know?
Oh man, I've always liked Vinny since back in the day, man. I actually did a small video about him when he broke his neck and you know, came back and I remember Mike Quinn was working with him, I think, to, you know, build up and stuff like that. I think especially once he moved up to middleweight.
Yeah, they became buddies and stuff. But Vinny's a very intense guy, very tough guy. Very tough guy.
Yeah.
Good guy though. Really good guy. Love that guy. And, you know, but when you're hanging out with a guy and then that guy likes to get in trouble, you know, Mike would get, I was there. It was me and Bob Bonham. We were at a dinner. It was an IFBB dinner. And what's his name was there? Because at one point he was trying to get in with the IFBB, Vince McMahon. So Vince McMahon was there and him and Jim Mannion got into a fight. Going to be a fist fight. Okay. Now, I think that's because that's when Vince McMahon was about to break off and do the WBF, you know, bodybuilding thing, right?
Right.
And Vince McMahon they were arguing at the table. All of a sudden, what's his name? Jim Mannion stands up and goes, get up! Like this, and he was going to, you know, and he went to go fight, like jump on him. And then Mike Quinn, I was with Mike Quinn and Bob Bonham. Mike Quinn jumped on Jesus Christ, Jim Mannion. He jumped on Jim Mannion with Jesus Christ, Weinberger, Steve Weinberger. So Steve Weinberger and him stopping Jim Mannion, and then I just stood there with Bob, and we just like kind of stood in between, like, so you know there would be nothing, but I didn't touch nobody, but we were standing there facing Vince McMahon, like just let him go, you know. And Vince McMahon was just standing there like this. You know, he stood up, right? You know, like in case they were going to go. He stood up. I'm not going to say it, but He really didn't want any part.
He moved forward, trying to
'cause
push the action.
Let me tell you something. And if that would have went, as much as people think Vince McMahon's a tough guy, he would not have.
No,
Nope.
no, not at
No,
all.
I'm going to tell you, Jim Mannion is a tough motherfucker. And
Right.
Jim Mannion would have knocked him out. He was like an animal. It was hard to hold him back. I mean, Mike
Right.
Quinn's a big dude. He like football grabbed him. And not for nothing, but Steve Weinberger's a big guy too. And he had him. And, you know, he had to stop him, you know.
Wow.
And we just
Man,
stood
that's
there.
intense.
You know, we were just in like a wall in between, but we didn't touch nobody. You know, I didn't have to stop McMahon.
Sure.
He just stood there like, okay.
He wasn't coming forward.
Right, no, but he stood
No.
up, but he was almost more like, okay, if he comes at me, but you know, he would have, it wouldn't have been good for him, you know.
No.
But Quinn, I've been with Quinn. He's always that fucking guy. Always, there's always drama. You know,
is that right, man? Is that right?
Always.
Man,
He liked to mix it up, but he had a lot of what I call flavor. You know what I mean? Like he's a flavorful guy. You know what I mean? He'd be around him.
Seemed like
he was fun to be around, but he was also, you got to watch, like, holy Christ, you know.
getting into it. Well, I always thought he had a great physique and
Yeah, he had a great physique.
solid guy, man.
But even Pazienza said, I gotta be careful with him. You know what I mean? Because it's trouble.
Got you. Yeah. Paz, man. I love fan since back in the day. I loved when he fought Lloyd Hunnigan and he won the championship. It was the middleweight championship. And he got on his dad would always be in the corner, which was awesome, man. And he jumped, he had Kevin Rooney a lot of time, you know,
Yeah,
later on in his career. So anyway, he would, and then Lou would be with him a lot. Lou Duva at some points of his career. Lou used to bring all his fighters to train at our gym, so I got to know Lou very well, you know, all the time.
Yeah, I remember him. Forget about it. That was a long time ago. Yeah.
Right. And so I remember him getting up. They asked him after the fight, you know, what do you guys say, Vinny? He goes, I'm doing this, you know, for Cranston. And, you know, he's talking and he goes, Mom, we're coming home. I'm going to eat some of your awesome pasta. And I was like, dude, that's awesome, man. Well, that's great. You know, stand up.
He's an Italian boy. Yep.
Right. Do you know anything about this at all, man? Do you have any opinions or anything?
I know. I don't know about the actual murder, but I knew Kelly before she was even dating him. I know both of them before they knew each other. I used to go to Sound Factory with him all the time. You know what I mean? I liked him. We got along great. I don't remember how I got in the middle of that fucking fight between him and King Kamali. Because Kamali used to go to Sound Factory, remember? And they would both be there. And he used to always ask me, what did that motherfucker say about me? You know, Titus would always ask me, you know, about Kamali. Okay. But I got along with Kamali too. Kamali's a good guy. And so is he. But he didn't like King Kamali. And he didn't like, when he didn't like you, bro, let me tell you something. He didn't hesitate. I mean, he walked up to Melvin Anthony too in Gold's Gym and cracked him. You know, he's crazy. Kelly was a good girl, a really good girl. She just picked the wrong guy to date, you know? I mean,
she's been released, right?
Yeah, nobody knows where she is. She probably wants nothing to do with the sport. The word bodybuilding would make her cringe because it cost her a chunk of her life, and now she's never going to be the same. I mean, she was such a good girl. To think that the Kelly that I knew her as Kelly Ryan. You understand? That's her name, Kelly Ryan. That girl was so sweet. You couldn't picture a bad thing coming out of it. But when you start dating somebody and you start getting under their spell, and then before you know it, you know what I mean? Boom. Okay. You know, you're doing things that you normally don't do. They used to swing and have other, you know, I can tell you.
Yeah, no, crazy,
that
man.
shit, you know?
No, I just want to know if you knew. I'm going to pull up a couple of these pictures and we'll call it, man. These are just some of the circuit, man, that you went on that was pretty awesome, man. I mean, that's.
Oh, yeah. Great girl. She was so nice to me. Her people used to talk shit about her, but she was so nice to me.
Is that right, man?
Oh, yeah. She was like, she told me, boy, you got it going on.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Man.
Yeah, she, you know, I was Jack. She kept saying, my God, that's so hard. You know, like feeling, I even said, if you watch the video, I say, yeah, it's hard, right? It's hard for you, know, because, you know, she would punch me in the arm and stuff sometimes. You know, she's a good girl. I liked her. I got along very well. Great guy. Awesome. The best guy. Bought me dinner. It was the best. The best of all, right there. Jay Leno, cool, the best. Treated me so good. Bought me steak dinner. It's so good. Such a good guy. Love that guy. Super
cool, man. One more here.
Yes, there he is.
Carson Daly, right?
Let me tell you something. That's a funky dude.
Is that right?
I did the Howard Stern show and I did him, right? Now, Howard Stern in real life is very mundane, very like, quiet and like more like, just, professional and whatever. This guy, when you would see him do interviews, is like, so Brittany, what are you doing? Like, so do you like practice every day? And then when the camera's off, he's like, hey, pull my finger. You know what I mean? He's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I like
that's
him.
funny, man.
I get along very well with him. You know what I mean?
That's cool. Yeah, man. He's a funny guy. Or
yeah, and when you
that's cool.
When you meet these people, sometimes like I said in the movie, Bigger, Stronger, Faster. Sometimes they got the middle finger under the table. They got some are cool and some aren't cool. You know what I mean? And sometimes you think like, you idolize somebody your whole life and you meet them and you're like, and then other times you meet these people and oh my God, they were totally different. Oh my God. And he was great. I love Carson Daly.
That's
him and I could hang out. Jay Leno was phenomenal. Actually, so was Tyra. She was great to me. Her people were talking such shit about her. Woo!
Hey, that's nuts, man. That you say that.
The hair and the makeup and shit. They all fucking work for. Like I used to work for Dr. Phil. I used to work for Oprah. They all work for. They're like fucking whores that go around like a circuit.
Doing
and
makeup. They
were like, "Oh, she's a bitch. She's this." And meanwhile, like the hair and makeup girls were saying this shit. And meanwhile, yeah, and meanwhile, if her, the producer's sitting right there as a woman. She's sitting right there. I'm like, holy shit, you girls ain't gonna be working here much longer.
Right.
Fuck her. I don't care. I'll go back to Dr. Phil. You know what I mean? Like they were like that.
Jeez, man. Hell, I wouldn't want those people working there anyway, man.
No,
I'm gonna pull up your books too, man. Everybody make sure and get one of Gregg's books, man. You got some great stuff, man. Gregg, I've held you all this time, man. I appreciate you so much. And thank you so much for coming on. 100%. I got so much stuff, man. I didn't ask you about this guy. I didn't ask you about this person. We're gonna do it. Hey, man, we're gonna come back, man, and do it sometime when you have time. Thank you so much, Gregg.
You know what it is because I talk so much. Holy awesome. Shit.
No, it's great, bro. Listen, man, it's great because guess what? If you don't, and I run out of stuff, we're going to be sitting here going, dude, you're great. You're the best, man. You're the best. Thanks, Gregg. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you, man. God bless you, man. Thank you. And thank everybody else for watching this, man. And we'll do part two anytime. We'll do Snooki. I'll tell you shit about Snooki. I'll tell you shit about Rich. You know what I mean? We'll people like
that'll be wonderful, man.
We'll get the bees buzzing.
Exactly, man. I want to thank everybody, man, for watching the show. Anybody that wants to donate to the channel, you can donate to the channel. You can do a super chat, all that stuff, and we really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
God bless all, and thank everybody. Thank you all.